You're watching Benchmark. The development of roads and highways in many parts of the island has drawn a lot of attention from the general public. And while for the most part people view the development program in a positive light, is everyone impressed by the beautification of our cities and towns? Benchmark's Anushan Selvaraja did some digging of his own to find out more.
Welcome to the Voice of Business. I have with me the country manager for TNS Lanka, Kunal Sharma. Welcome, Kunal. Now, are you surprised that a whopping 87% of your sample population say that upgrading our roads and highways is a national priority today?
Well, not really surprised, Anushan. I think it is what I would term perils of peace. So now that people are not really dodging bullets, then their attention goes to other things around them, The priorities change over a period of time. And because of the huge impact, specifically in terms of economic impact that the war had, there was a lot of development activities which really could not take place to the extent one would want them to. And therefore, the roads and the highways have lagged in terms of where they should have been. And therefore, it's a priority. Plus, you see today in the cities and on the highways, you keep hearing about accidents, you keep hearing about traffic jams, etc. because of roadworks. You keep hearing about bridges collapsing, you keep hearing about embankments collapsing. So no wonder it's on the national mind.
And there's a consensus, it seems, that our roads and highways will match the best in the region in the future, despite the potholes, gaping holes, and haphazard nature, for instance, of Colombo's work in progress. How come?
I think there is a bit of reality and a bit of optimism at play here. If you see some of the projects, for example, the Southern Express Highway and so on that are going on, then people are actually seeing fairly high quality work, and they can see that that's why it's taking time. And possibly the hope is that that kind of quality, that kind of construction work will happen in the rest of the country as well. But of course, there is also the optimism now that the economy is recovering and there is growth, then people are also assuming that the infrastructure will keep up pace. And the whole, the jewel story of Sri Lanka, that it is going to be one of the key nations in the Southeast Asian area. I think that's what's propelling people to think like that.
How do you personally view Colombo's beautification, Kunal? Impressed or not? What, if anything, can be improved in terms of what is presently taking place?
I think, first of all, Colombo is a beautiful city as it is, coming from where I come from. With less traffic, less vehicles, less people on the roads. Having said that, there is a lot that can be done. The beautification drive that is happening currently has started showing impact. I think the coming down of the walls and creating of the green patches everywhere, the vegetable patches, the flower patches, is distinctly adding a layer of beauty to the city. Now, there more has to be done, I think, and the more part has to come really from the people in general. There is only so much that the government and the civic bodies can do. It's cleanliness that will add the final layer to the beautification drive.
Now, Kunal, TNS Lanka's recent island-wide survey also suggests that people feel that the rural areas are missing out on the development drive. Why is this, especially given that work that is in progress in the east and parts of the north?
Well, I think like any government, there are priorities that the government has to juggle. Now, in terms of development of the infrastructure, given that there are parts of the country where for 30 years nothing happened, the focus has to be on, first of all, building the main backbone, which is the highways, the national highways and the state highways. And only subsequently will that development work proceed and go into the deeper rural part. So I think right now, with the limited resources at its disposal, the government is trying to make sure that at least the first step is taken, and subsequently it can be built on that.
Some of your respondents are saying that there are more pressing issues, like, for instance, the rising cost of essential items. How does this fit in at a time when the central bank says that inflation is under control?
I think it's a chicken and egg situation, Anushan. The fact is that today, when people look at inflation vis-a-vis developmental activity or investment into another area, people look at it as two disparate activities. It's not. The fact is that within the overall economic budget of the government and of the country, these two things fit together really well. Development of roads and highways is going to be such a strong contributor to our economy, especially in terms of inflation. For example, if tea has to travel from Nuwara to Colombo or to other parts of the country, bad roads, bad highways will have an economic outfall. That will mean that costs will rise, and therefore people will feel the pinch of inflation. Similarly, rice grown in different parts of the country, or vegetables or fruits, they all have to come via these roads and highways. Efficiency in this process will automatically lower the prices, and those price benefits will be passed on to the consumers. So it's not about one at the expense of other. Everything has to be done together.
So that was Kunal Sharma speaking to Anushan Selvaraja, And finally, an issue that continues to worry many Sri Lankans, a topic that we've covered extensively in our Spotlight segment, and one that is often cited by business people as one of the most pressing national issues for Sri Lanka. What are we talking about? Yes, it's corruption. There's too much of it and very little is being done to stop the rot. Tell us how you feel about it by logging on to lmd.lk. Thank you for your company. We hope to see you again next week at the same time. Have a great week from the Benchmark team. It's goodbye.